And welcome back. We're picking where we left off last time in the Long Dark Interloper, where today we're going to do final preparations for going out and doing tail number 3 and beginning the trip out to do tail number 3. So right now we're in the garage in Coastal Highway. We could technically start the prep for the trade. Don't remember. We have a special request here from Wyatt, which is go find the perfect bunker, look for the secret stash. Not 100% sure which one that one is. I think that is one of the ones we have found, but I'm not 100% sure with that one. The rest of this wouldn't be too hard to work on, but at the same time, we're not in a rush to do that. Instead, I think we're going to focus on heading out. So on the same note, do I have a sewing kit? Or how many sewing kits do I have on me? I have one. We'll grab a second one just in case we need one as we're going. Don't have any whetstones. Would like a whetstone, but we don't have any here for the trip. What do my arrows look like? I do have 5 arrows. Okay, so I don't need to make any more arrows. Clothing-wise, what is the state of the clothing? Both pair cuts are above 90%. Things that were needed for repair with leather above 80 or 80 or above. I think the lowest condition stuff is the socks. Yeah. No, actually, the lowest technically is... Well, actually, the lowest is the socks, yeah. So yeah, I think we are pretty good as far as equipment goes. I'm not got the scrap metal here to repair the crampons. Unless it tears something apart, which we're not going to do. I have 6 pieces of cloth, so we'll do some clothing repairs as we go, whenever we reach places where we'll warm up. Otherwise, I think we are actually just good to go. Oh, I do want to leave the travois here, as convenient as it is. I think it's one of those things where it's very convenient in places where you know the local environment, so you can be safe about it. And less so in places that are unknown to you. But where we're going will be unknown to me. I have spoiled it enough to figure out how to get into the new zone, into the Last Horizon Sundered Pass. I do not know where the weather station is. Well, I have a vague idea where the weather station is in Southern Pass. I think it's like the top left. Don't know enough of the landmarks where that... I might as well not know where it is. It doesn't really make a difference. Food to bring along with us. So we've got about 4 kilograms of carrying capacity. So in an ideal world, I'd bring 4 kilograms of food that does not smell, that we can cook with along the way. Could go cured meat. Ideally, I think I want to grab, and this is what we'll go check, see if I can go grab some oats. The oats work real well. Foggy day, but that's not really a problem. Eat a partial on the meat. And then hopefully we should be able to pass over to the trading spot. Have I got any... Well, I know I've got oats up in the mine. Could go pick up the oats in the mine. Or what I'm going to do is I'm going to go check the trading spot, see if we've got some oats over there. But yeah. So the plan for this episode is, well, to get ready to go. At this point, we're pretty much ready to go, so that's mostly done. The next plan is then to head out towards the third tail, which is in Sundered Pass, out in the far territories. So if everything goes according to plan, we'll be making progress towards that goal. Do you see 2 wolves out here on the ice? 2 wolves means it's probably not timber wolves. Or at least if it is Timberwolves, they need a third to form a hunting pack. So the stream is mostly, I think, going to be getting out to Sundered Pass. Because I don't need very much to get ready, we might actually get all the way out to Trappers in this part. I should have the time tonight to do 4 recordings. In fact, I should do 4 recordings. So that'll be about 30 to 40 minutes of recording. So I suspect we'll get to Southern Pass, and probably have 1 episode of wandering about around a bit blindly in Southern Pass before the stream ends. And that'll be fair, that'll probably be the longest of the 4 episodes, is the one where we're lost in Southern Pass, because I don't know where I'm going. Because to end the episode, I'll then be trying to look for a safe place to save and exit, which... the middle of nowhere where you don't know where you are is not a safe place to save and exit. So yeah, we're going to check to see if I've got some oats over here. We'll probably also pick up a thing of... flour and oil, ideally for making rosehip pie. That is my preferred emergency vitamin C source when we're inland. Do I have some oats? Yes, I have some oats. Not a lot of oats, but some oats. Grab one of you. Do I actually have some oil in the inventory? I have 3 liters of oil. We won't grab oil. We'll grab the oats. What are we looking at carrying capacity-wise? Okay, that's about right. A little low on fuel. I might pick up a bit more fuel, which would leave us a little heavy, but yeah, I can pick up some fuel and leave some torches behind. That'll work. It is... It's actually surprisingly for an early morning. It's well, for a morning it is surprisingly warm, but it is cold because it is morning. That makes sense. So we're obviously going to have to... Well, I'm obviously going to have to stomp at some point to warm up. Lost a little too much temperature to be pushing very far on. I think we've got most of the stuff we need to get going. So I'm going to go ahead and do some fuel rearrangement by leaving torches behind here at the fishing stop. And picking up some coal. And then I may push all the way through to the fishing cabins out by the pier to warm up. We'll see how quickly this warmth goes away as we approach Jackrabbit. May stop at Jackrabbit. What doesn't have any coal in it? I know there is some coal here. I've been maybe a little aggressive at taking control of the coal that we've got here, but we can always bring down more from the mountain.
Gear.
And then to save some weight, leave some torches behind. Yeah, probably about that much. We're a little heavy, but I think that'll just be fine. Oh yeah, I'm probably going to duck in Jackrabbit. For this walk, it's going to be fine to take a little bit of damage on the way out to Sundered Pass. But because we're obviously going to be taking recoveries as we do long rests as we go. But I want to arrive mostly full. Right, so the fact I'm taking damage here is fine, because we're definitely going to rest at least once before we get there. But we're going to rest at least once, and we're going to rest enough that when you take a lot of damage is two very different damage regimes. Some painkillers, which will pick up. Cattail head will leave behind. Okay. I did some firewood. Mainly picked it up so we wouldn't disappear when the beachcombing came in. So we'll just leave that there. We'll want that in the future, but right now we don't need it. The firewood is really good for time on fire. On Interloper, I tend to need temperature more than I need time. Which is what coal's good for. Vice versa, coal is not very good for time, it is really good for temperature. Because you get little, well, I think it's an hour before temperature effects and stuff make it longer. I could sleep here. Why not sleep here? You're got enough fatigue. We just go ahead and pass the time. Still fairly warm. I did exit out of that preemptively, so we didn't stay here an entire hour. Okay, the visibility is improved, and as I tend to find, when the visibility improves, the warmth actually goes down frequently on Interloper. So we are a bit cold. This is midday, so we're sort of got a trade-off of we can see what we're going to run into, but we're a little cold. But yeah, had we been warmer, my probably spot where I would have stopped to warm up would have been those cabins over there. Oh, that's something I could have done while we were warming up. Instead of just passing the time, I could have been maintaining my socks. And as we move into midday, it is warming up. I think it's on the colder side of one echelon right now. I think we're like -9. I think -10 is 2, -20 is 3. And then past there, to get an idea of if it's extra cold, you have to open the menu. But yeah, so -1 echelon can be anywhere between you're warm for like forever and you are getting cold reasonably fast. Because being like -0.2 is pretty manageable, but -9 is pretty bad. Though -90 is even reasonably manageable for a reasonable amount of time. Though the difference between -0.1 and -9 is 90 times less time you have to be outside, so this gives you an idea of like, yeah, you can be at a point where like, yeah, the character's technically cold, so it's not getting warm, but it's not getting cold at any appreciable rate. And then you can have times where you're like, yeah, no, 1 echelon is a lot. The sensitivity on those meters there, just as a quick glance, is not super high. It has been a decent while since I've killed the bear here. I would not be surprised if this bear has respawned. Though I would have expected to see the one near Misanthrope sooner. So it probably hasn't. I will want to warm up, I think, before we move into the ravine. There's a big stretch passing through the ravine where there isn't any good places to warm up. It's about half the ravine. And we are losing warmth quickly enough that I don't want to be having to sprint through that portion to not take a lot of damage. So there's the bear cave. We don't see the bear, we don't hear the bear, so the bear probably hasn't respawned. And that bear cave, as you can see, is pretty close to this river. So in the higher difficulties, if you're not careful, you maybe don't want to come up this river because you can run into the bear. If you're not prepared for a bear. On the lower difficulties, you probably just come straight up the river because it's a good landmark. All-weather landmark.
Can't feel my feet.
Yeah, character's complaining about the fact that he's getting a little cold, and he is. I think we got enough time that I'm not going to actually take any damage before we get to the next place to warm up, but he's a little chilly. We'll also stop that campfire, but the next one here, I think it's some meat next to it. No? No. Oh, that was the one I was making for fuel holes. It's this campfire. Quickly scarper down some meat, drink some water. And then we'll go back in the nearby cabin to warm up. So if I just pushed through to the cabin, we probably wouldn't have taken any damage to get into the cabin. Like a little bit, I think, here. And there we go, we're starting to take some damage.
Never felt so cold in my life.
As I'm slowly watching the very tiny silver of blue that was the bonus health from well-fed be consumed. Which arguably is probably about the level of damage we want to be taking moving from place to place, so that doesn't really concern me. We'll do some repairs on our socks to pass the time while we warm up. It makes very little difference, but it is making difference. The socks are not nothing. And the repairs here are more about keeping the socks and less about getting maximum worth from the socks. Yeah, it does sound like the wind has picked up. Hopefully the wind isn't too bad outside. Oh yeah, the wind has picked up, but it looks like it's still beneath our wind chill protection on our clothing here. That's one of the perks that going like double bear coat provides. A lot of the heavy gear provides a decent amount of waterproofness and wind protection. So while it's not necessarily optimal from a degree per kilogram standard, it does have some extra bonuses associated with it. But it has some extra drawbacks as well. We don't have as much strength meter as we might have on, say, Stalker in synthetic clothes. Well, also looks like we're getting some wind protection from the train here. And that late afternoon weather is actually, if we can get out of the wind, warm right now. Well, in our gear. If I was running around just the socks, for example, would be a bit cold. You need the whole kit, not just the socks. Oh, and I visibly felt the change in our velocity there when I lost the wind protection, starting to walk into the wind. And here we come up on the trestle in the ravine. I think I read someone on Reddit who actually accidentally fell, and it presumably was an accident. They weren't intending to do it. Trying to cross this little bit here. If you know what you're doing and take it slow, it's not that risky. You basically walk down to here, you walk across, trying not to overshoot, and then walk across here. It's not completely without risk, but it's easy enough that as long as you're not rushing it, you can pretty easily do it. At some point that might be something that's just worth taking a clip of for people that have fears and phobias or want to know how they get across safely. And as you saw there, there's no points as you're crossing there where you should drop. I think the most recent one I saw on Reddit, they're like, oh, I was trying to cross the thing and the character dropped a little bit. I was stuck and couldn't go forward, and it's like, okay, no. I'm thinking to myself, like, oh, if that's happened, the moment you saw that little drop, that would have been like Alt F4 territory. It's like, yeah, no, you're very, very in coyote time at that point, and coyote time on that area is not good. Because that is an insta-kill death fall if you do fall. So, um, take it calmly, take it seriously. It's not that much of a hazard, but at the same time, it does kill you. And dying is often for the person who just did it is not very much of a joke. I'm resisting talking about, or resisting jinxing myself here by not trying to talk about how good the weather is. The weather is good. I'd like it to stay that way. It might not stay that way. It probably won't stay that way. Because of the use of the cloth for preparing my socks, and the combination of drinking water, we are actually below carrying capacity right now. I'll probably go above again when I pick up water. We're hearing crows. I'm pretty sure at the bottom of the ravine there is a deer carcass that we've seen a couple times going past it. Not going to go down there to check. I think that's what we're hearing, is we're hearing the crows from the bottom of the ravine. Which would explain why we can't see them. Crows usually fly over the carcass, and the carcass is far enough down, they're actually below us. The crows. And now we're probably getting some over here. There's a human one over here that we're about to go past. See those ones. Right there. A couple different ways to really get up and onto this one. If you know what you're doing, onto the log and across you go. And there's a human corpse. We've searched that one multiple times. Even then, I kind of glanced at it long enough to get the confirmation that, yep, there is still nothing on it. This is an area where I should probably keep my little eyes on a swivel. Because there are a decent possibility that there is birch bark here. It's been reasonably long since we've been through here last. I think the last time we were through here was looking for the whetstones. Yeah, this is an area pretty rich with birch trees, so it can be reasonably rich with birch bark coming off the birch trees. Wouldn't be opposed to finding some birch bark. I think I have a meat pile in here. Yep, there's the meat. We'll eat a little bit. Drink some water. And off we go. Yep. Speak of it, and you may find it. So there's some birch bark. Maybe not getting as much as I would normally get through coming through here, but while it's been a while, it hasn't been a long while. So maybe it hasn't all respawned, or maybe wasn't doing the best job at looking through the first half. That's the ravine, pretty much. Ravine's a nice, safe zone. Other than the full hazards, it's a safe zone. There are no predators in there. I suppose no hard indoor areas either, so maybe you need to be a little careful during a blizzard. Fairly easy not to get lost during a blizzard, but there's no good places necessarily to warm up. The caves kind of work. But you may, especially during a hard blizzard, early morning, well, late night, early morning, you may need to get a fire going in the caves to stay warm during a blizzard. Of course, you're on that side of the ravine, you can always come into the cabins over here, and they're hard inside locations, so they'll be warm during a blizzard. Here's some ptarmigans off the right side of the bridge. I think before the Wildlife Refresh, this was a place that had moose. I haven't seen them there since the Wildlife Refresh. And since the Wildlife Refresh, I've seen one um, in the clearing, the log cut clearing over there. The one closest to us right now. So I think it's just been moved and it doesn't spawn. Looking for it. But I was looking for it as we were passing. Just obviously didn't see any. I do have a meat pile here that we stole. A deer from a wolf. We're not hungry enough, so I'm just going to kind of leave it here as we walk past. I don't have a torch going, so I'm going to take the detour and walk along the ridge. So I don't have to light a fire to chase any wolves off. Oh, there's another deer meat pile. You can hear some of the wolves that would be having to be warded off if we go straight down the railroad. Oh, I gave myself a sprained ankle. That's not too much of a concern. It just means I can't sprint. The weather's warm enough. I'm not gonna do anything to get rid of it. So much surprised I got that sprain. I've definitely walked this way before without getting sprained.
Hurts a bit, but I'll make it.
But I suppose that's a little bit of RNG. It's not guaranteed that you get through without getting sprained or how many sprains you get. The odds are pretty low when you're got the crampons on and green carrying.
I don't feel so good.
So we may get a odd voice line here and there about a character complaining about him not feeling so good because he's got a sprained ankle. So I'm going to use the camp office as a safe place. We're coming up on it. The weather's good enough, and I think the inventory is sorted out enough that I might just push through. Don't stop at trappers, and just push straight through into Muskeg and through to the railroad, broken railroad. We're a little low on fatigue, but if we're just walking in good weather, that shouldn't be an issue. Okay, I'm going to duck in the building here as the safe point, so I can take a short break and sip some tea and stuff. So if you're watching on YouTube, there will be a part up tomorrow, because we're going to record 3 more parts today. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to hang around. I'm going to take a short break between parts, but then we'll get right back to recording. So until the next part, wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.